Welcome to No Prize Podcast. I am the professor. That's Luke. That's Lucas. That's Johnny.
Yes.
Hey.
What's going on, gentlemen? Sorry, it's been a week. I forgot who everybody was.
I love the Eagles. The Eagles are great. They're the best team in the world.
It's not even
I'm
football
not,
season anymore.
I'm not Jamie Foxx. I love the 76ers.
Oh my.
It's been a minute, guys. How's everything going?
Yeah, it's all right.
Johnny,
Yeah.
okay.
We managed to survive a week without you, Professor.
Well, thank you. I was in beautiful, sunny Arizona, soaking up the rays, and visiting tourist traps like Tombstone, which was great if you like the movie.
Nice.
We went to Boot Hill. Have you guys ever watch westerns and stuff? Boot Hill was where they had a lot of the gunfights, and that's where they're all buried. All the victims of the western, the old west. It was cool.
I don't think you can say gunfights nowadays without the whole Alec Baldwin thing kicking in. It's
I don't know.
It's a bit of a thing now, isn't it? You can't say gunfights.
No, I'm part of the old. I grew up on westerns, and that whole gunfight thing is kind of a romanticized kind of vision for me. Like High Noon. Good, the bad, and the ugly.
Is Boot
Spaghetti
Hill also
westerns.
Yeah.
Is Boot Hill also the place where they used to do loads of Star Trek as well, or is that somewhere else?
Oh no, I don't know. I'm sure it was around there, but I mean the whole it was all like the desert type. Yeah. No, Tombstone was one of those big, like Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, the shootout, the old kick around. Yeah.
Big dude, pointy teeth, talks to him with a holy voice.
Yeah, that guy from Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
He killed his own daughter.
All right. Lucas, you have some Disney stuff that you wanted to get to. Oh, wait, No, that's not Disney.
So hold on. So Akira Toriyama, Dragon Ball Z creator and manga artist, passed away at the age of 68 from blood clots and subdural hematoma. Big loss to the the geek community. And you were like, and you may ask, like, hey, what does Dragon Ball Z have to do with Disney? Well, there was a big deal to move Dragon Ball Z to Disney Plus. It's supposed to be happening soon. So that's your connection. Then let's see what else. So also what we got going on this week, and I've talked to you guys about all the stuff that Disney and Bob Iger are trying to do ahead of this stock vote, to kind of make more profits, make it look more viable, include that big Fortnite deal. Was that Bob's been trying to shuffle some stuff around, and he said, in fact, that he's already killed a few projects, and that they've not made it public. They're trying to been doing it quietly. So all we can do right now is speculate. Now, I know for a fact in one of the last earning calls, they did say, hey, we're going to try and stay with some of the TV series. If it's already been shot and everything, we're just going to freaking try and stay that way. But they're going to start pulling back on some of the cinematic stuff. So I wanted to hear from you guys what you guys think might be some of the stuff that they haven't said that they've killed, but they might have killed already. So, for instance, here we go in Phase 5. This was the stuff that was announced during the last San Diego Comic-Con. That's definitely supposed to be happening. Some of this stuff has already happened already, right? However, I, for instance, think that Ironheart, that's definitely not happening because people aren't feeling her.
It's already shot, though, right? Ironheart's already been filmed. Same thing with Daredevil as well. Daredevil's filming now.
Mhm.
I would think Agatha would probably be one of the ones to get the axe. I heard that get the new Captain America movie. They did massive reshoot. They're going to do massive reshoots. They were supposed to have the Serpent Society in it, and they cut out the entire Serpent Society. They cut it out, everything that
Mm.
they had shot. So
It's
that seems
crazy.
to be like a disaster going on over there. Plus Thunderbolts, that hasn't shot yet, has it?
No, it's shot.
It's shot. So I
Yeah,
mean,
it's shot.
you imagine that they're not going to be like Warner Brothers, right? Where they're just deleting stuff like Batgirl and
So they can do that. They can do that, and in fact, they might have done that with a few things because, um, what's and I'll actually so there was this big company that are part of the activist side, and they came up with this big paper. And the most damning thing that was out there was they put a comparison of like all the other media companies, Rican Apple, Amazon, Paramount, Rican Warner Brothers, and all that, and they put them side by side. And Disney, even though they made $56 billion in revenue from their stuff, they actually had the worst earnings before taxes and appreciation because of that. And the ways that some of these companies try and fight that is they build stuff and then they say, we can't make it, and they just write it off as a freaking loss. So we can't put it past Disney that they would do the same thing. Shoot the
weird.
whole thing, then go, hey, this is terrible. Can't do this.
I would. The Warner Brothers thing. I mean, the Batgirl was a hard sell to start with. The fact that they went a specific way, alienating tons of Batgirl fans, wasn't going to win people over. And then you get the mixed tonality of it. How do you have something that is allegedly played for laughs, but then has Michael Keaton in it? How does that work when Michael Keaton's been in The Flash? There was no sort of. It was besieged. Is probably the word
Mm.
before anything happened. And then when you got the hodgepodge, I mean, we got to remember when you make a film, it's not when you go to produce it, it's not all in one bit. It's all in chunks, and you have to try and put the jigsaw piece together, the jigsaw puzzle together. And if it doesn't look like a picture on the box, you've got a bad jigsaw. I think that's probably what happened to the Batgirl movie. I think Marvel Studios have probably got a bigger immediate fan base that would stop them from being in a project unless it was absolutely terrible. But I mean, I can't see the point of a Nova movie at all. What's that about? Why do I need to say that? In fact, the last Avengers, the last movie, what was the last Marvel movie I saw? The pictures. What was the
I don't
what?
know.
The
Have you seen?
Marvels.
I saw Marvels. I went and saw
Yeah.
Marvels, but that was it. I didn't see Black Widow at the cinema. I didn't watch Shang-Chi. I haven't watched the Eternals. I haven't watched any of the Ant-Man movies. And I'm a comic book fan. So
Mhm.
there's like 4 or 5 movies that I'm just not interested in. You tell me that there's going to be a second Shang-Chi movie. Do I care? No. Do I care that Nova's getting a movie? I barely care that Nova's in a Spider-Man cartoon
Has
from
this all
20
been
years ago.
announced? Because this looks like rumors for me, like Young
Disney,
Avengers
yep,
and
at the
Nova.
Disney 23 Expo.
I don't mind the idea of the Thunderbolts. I quite like the idea, to be honest. The kind of bad guy Avengers, like an alternative Avengers. But if you're doing that, it's like Young Avengers.
Yeah.
Do I need a Young Avengers?
But that's Disney Plus. That's a Disney Plus show.
Well, so what are you going to do? So I think there is legs in the idea of pulling away from cinema and
Yeah.
just putting the stuff on Disney Plus as a TV show, because you know what, it is expensive to go to the cinema, and if you go, we've had this conversation before. You can have you make a family event and we'll go and watch it, and it costs you a third of the price as if you went to the cinema, right?
So family of 4 last weekend we went to see the Dune movie.
Mm-hmm.
It cost over $70 for 4 tickets, and then it was another almost $80 for popcorn and sodas.
Mm-hmm.
So $150 to go and watch a movie.
Yeah. It was crazy.
That just beggars my belief.
Yeah. Yep. So you
Yeah.
just stay home. Yeah, stay home
That
and
was
wait for it.
Now, was that something like AMC or like Cinemark or Regal Cinemas?
Regal.
Regal.
We went to Regal Cinemas, yeah.
No.
So yeah, well, but that was because I wanted to see Dune on the big screen. I didn't want to wait for, you know.
No, I get that. But
Yeah,
you've got to think to yourself, $70 just for tickets.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
just
Well,
No,
bonkers.
it was nuts. Yeah,
yeah.
What's
Well,
that? That's like what, 35, $17 a ticket.
about that. We did get
17.50.
the RPX version, so a better sound system, and it was if I had gone to IMAX, it would have probably been like 20, right?
Just crazy. Just
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, this is the thing. This is the quantifier for me. You know when it's a bit of a segue, so apologies for this. But you know when you go and change your mobile phone or your cell phone, and you go and talk to someone and say, "All right, this has got the latest processor. It does this. It's great download speeds." And you ask the question, how much faster? And it's like, "Oh yeah, it's 0.0000001 tenth of a second faster." And in the real world, that doesn't affect me one little bit. So
Uh-huh.
having to pay an extra $5 or whatever for sound that you can hear the grass blow doesn't interest me when I go to watch a movie. I don't think to about. I
Yeah.
do not go to a movie and think, gee, I hope I can hear the wind rustle through the leaves. It
Well,
just, you know what I'm saying? It's just,
yeah.
it's one of the things that just doesn't connect for me.
It's
And
like
if people buy that, see, I think films should be like that as standard nowadays.
it's like
Why are we getting? Why
when
are we
that
getting like
giant
the non-version?
sandworm comes out of the desert and your rib cage shakes, that it's all good. So
I can hear the sand blast across the land.
well,
I can see the vision. The HDR is so clear. The 4K, the 5K, the 6K generation picture is so great. I can see the pixels of the CGI that makes up the majority of the movie. Yes, that's when I know I'm living large. Yeah, woo!
yeah, no, I mean it was fun. It was a fun movie, but it was expensive. That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
agree with you. It's like I would not pay $150 to go and watch a movie at all.
yeah,
I'd be paying £15. So,
yeah.
so it's like
Well, you
crazy.
gotta imagine like me and my family because we went to see Dune 2, and then again we had to go and see Kung Fu Panda
Oh
this
yeah.
week as well. But luckily now I have a AMC pass. Um, but the thing is, I have it just for myself. I don't have it for all four of my members of my family because this is kind of like the midwinter.
Mm.
Usually during summer, I get packages for like all four, and then if like everybody is free for the tickets, right? It's actually it makes it really worth it. If you guys go see a movie at least every other week. But yeah, the thing is, once you go to the freaking, what's the real killer is the concessions. Once you get to concession stand and you try and buy popcorn, sodas and all that other stuff, man. Yeah, that's where it really freaking kills you. And none of these movies have really been worth it, man. It's really been worth it to just wait nowadays, man, especially with those prices. Jesus Christ.
That this list looks every time I look at it, I'm like, this can't be a right list. How long ago did this come out? Like a year ago?
2022.
Oh,
Disney
okay.
2023, 2022,
Oh,
right?
okay. So this, I mean, look, the Armor Wars Disney Plus, so we've already know has been switched from Disney Plus to an actual theater movie, right? If they ever
So the
do
thing
that.
is, we haven't heard about Armor Wars in a while. Um, Same thing for some of that Ironheart stuff, right? They haven't really been building up because my thing has been what'll probably happen is in the Ironheart movie or whatever series, then they'll lead up to the Armor Wars, kind of leaning on some of the stuff that happened during the Secret Invasion stuff as well. But a lot
Mm,
of that stuff is like been out of freaking sight, out of freaking mind, so they might have dropped a lot of that stuff.
I think this whole list is probably crap. It's probably scrapped. The Fantastic Four movie is the only one that we know is happening. Uh, and the two Avengers movies, look, it's like a 6 month window between both Avengers movies, May 25 and November 25. That's not happening.
Disney's not on
Yeah.
there, is it?
Wait,
Deadpool.
oh yeah, Deadpool's not even on
Yep.
this list. That's
Yep.
the
So
next
here we
movie
go.
coming out.
Yep. So there we go. There's other list. The Moon Knight season 2. That one is
That's not
kind of shaky.
happening.
That one's shaky. Fantastic
Not
Four. We
watched, not
now know
watched,
what's happening.
not watched any of
American.
that. So that's a loss for me. Well done.
Wait,
Hercules.
did they
Her-
announce America Chavez getting her own show on Disney
that was
Plus?
that was supposed to be the thing, right? But a lot of people were pushing back. Okay, you're telling me America Chavez is up next, but we didn't ask for her. What we wanted was a Strange Academy type deal, and they just screwed the pooch on that one. World War Hulk, that was supposed to be a thing. Remember that?
Yeah, but
Um,
we've already we heard just a couple of months ago that they're never ever making a Hulk movie because of
they were,
the legal stuff going on.
What
yeah,
legal stuff?
There was
because they don't.
some like what is it, Paramount owned the distribution rights for Hulk or something like
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah, so there was just no way that they would make a Hulk movie. He can be in as many Avengers movies as they want, but they can't put his name on the marquee. So,
Mm.
Yeah,
and I mean, Wolverine, they can't have another Hugh Jackman Wolverine movie.
so you got to remember, they were that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to find the next Hugh Jackman, and people are just not having it. They would rather have Hugh Jackman play it till he's freaking 65, 70, than have a brand new guy in there.
That's weird.
Yeah,
And who's lining up for Hercules?
That's
was
a good question. I'm not sure who's buying that.
But is it?
gotta,
But see, that's the thing. See now, this is where it's going to get a little antsy between Disney and Marvel, right? Because Hercules has this huge animated film with Disney, and then if Marvel starts doing a Hercules, there's kind of like a conflict of interest on their own part, right? Right? No, nobody on the
No.
board with that.
Well, I think the two. I mean, they're massively dissimilar, so I don't see there's like going to be that much of an issue. I don't think you're going to get the two
Or do
mixed
they
up.
make Marvel's Hercules more like Disney's Hercules?
Well, just bear in mind, over here in the UK, we have this thing called the Avengers, and it's been around since God knows when. And then when Avengers came out, it had to be promoted as Marvel's Avengers.
Well, I'm calling it now. If they come out with this Hercules show, they're casting James Woods as Hades.
I'm telling. I'm not. I won't be going to watch it. I thought what a waste of a character. In fact, that Thor movie was just terrible.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Hercules was scrapped, especially after the Thor: Love and Thunder, because that was supposed to be a kind of introduction to the whole Olympus type stuff. So yeah,
Terrible.
they freaking scrapped all that.
It's God. MCU gives me such a headache now. What is this?
The Star Wars stuff.
Oh, that's a lot
worse.
of this stuff is getting cut.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff has already happened. You know, like Visions, Mandalorian.
if you're gonna cut Star Wars stuff, you gotta do a lightsaber sound. You can't just go.
Oh,
Get
yeah.
rid of it.
Cut it.
Yeah. There we go. Bad Batch finishes this season.
Yeah.
Lando's got shipped from a TV show to a movie, or the other way around. God knows why they're doing Mandalorian, but they're doing a Mandalorian movie. God knows why.
What's this Lando? Are they're gonna do a Lando show on Disney Plus, or is that a movie?
I think wasn't it supposed to be a show that they're going to make into a movie, or vice versa? It's the Lando from the Han Solo movie.
Is he playing him?
Yeah, allegedly.
Glover. Okay. Well, I'll believe it when I see it. So a lot of this stuff is like, Rangers of the New Republic was announced 3 years ago, and we haven't heard shit from it since. Same thing with the Acolyte. That actually is shot, right? I heard that was done, right?
Yeah.
And we're just waiting for that to come out. Obi-Wan, I don't think we're getting the second season of Obi-Wan. Do you?
I hope not.
What are they going to do? He ended up, he was on Tatooine at the end.
The only thing they could do is a Tusken Raiders war. That's the only thing they could do.
Rogue Squadron's intriguing. I love the Rogue Squadron books, but I don't think, I'm one of the weird fans, right? So I don't think anybody's going to be in line for Rogue Squadron.
I don't mind Rogue Squadron as an idea, but it's the Darth Vader question. If the Rogue Squadron's that badass, you'd think Darth Vader would go and attack him every now and again. And therefore, that's another opportunity for Darth Vader to not actually achieve anything. Because, the Rogue Squadron are actually all the way through the movies. So that's yet another example of Darth being an absolute terrible bad guy and not achieving anything he sets out to do. I mean, that's just me. I don't know. Sooner or later, he's going to have to do something. He hasn't done it yet in bloody since 77. What's that? 38 years or something crazy like that?
Yeah.
Maybe not. So
I don't know. It just seems like that. I mean, this whole picture of even this is this Kathleen Kennedy standing in front of here? I can't even remember who that is.
You know it is.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you know, she's just sitting there, like, trying to make herself feel like she's doing her job, right? Look at all these properties that are coming out. Half of these aren't going to see the light of day.
And now they brought in a new bloke to fix all of this. So,
all right, yeah, well, whatever. If it happens, it happens. I've stopped caring about these announcements because half of them don't happen. So, you know, they can tell me they're going to be making something all they want, but until I see that something's on the schedule to actually release, we've been listening for to X-Men 97 for the last 3 years, and it's finally coming out next week. Is anybody excited to see it?
no.
Yeah,
I don't even have Disney Plus anymore. I'm gonna wait for our preview copy. Yeah, I'm not buying that shit anymore. I'm done.
I got excited when I was like when we saw the trailer a few weeks ago, and I was like, "Ooh, X-Men 97!" And then I saw the animation style. I was like, "Oh, it's kind of the same as it was 30 years ago." And then I went, "Oh, okay."
It's worse than it was.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, you know, 30 years ago, I thought it was great. Sorry, 30 years. That was 30 years ago. You know.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, why they can't update that a little bit?
But you know what? I think that's fine. You know, don't freaking go too hard on it. Just give people what they remember and what they liked. And then if people do like it and they are heavily invested in it, then you can put more money into it. But once again, we'll have to see like how are they able to break out the stories? How are they able to re-engage with us as our old folkness and engage with us? And we'll see, man. But I once again, people are excited. I'm just like, it's not enough for me to go back to Disney Plus right now.
I'm sorry because the whole run of X-Men animated series is on Disney Plus if you want to watch it, and I watched like the first few episodes and I was like, this isn't really how I remembered it.
No,
you know, I thought it was great, and now I can't sit through it.
The thing is, it's funny because at the time there was the X-Men cartoon and the Batman the animated series cartoon were vying for attention between me and my friends, and I had a whole bunch of people who would say, "Oh, I prefer the X-Men." I'd be like, yeah, but the X-Men's a carbon copy of the comic books. At least Batman's doing something different, and the art looks different, and yada yada. Now I find that I look back and watch the X-Men cartoon, and I can't do it. Storm, the way she talks, Jean Grey, awful when she's any iteration of Jean Grey. You watch the Batman cartoon, the Batman
stands up.
Batman, absolutely totally does.
Yep.
And you're like, I could watch this all day, and not just because I'm a DC fan, but because it's absolutely classic all the way through. There is a couple of bad episodes in there, of course there is, but the X-Men 97 is such. Wolverine and the X-Men's a better cartoon.
What do we say on Old Timers? It's of its time.
It's of its age. It most certainly is. It most certainly is.
All right. Wow. I didn't think we were going to spend this long on Disney. So let's take a quick break, and then when we get back, we'll talk some of the comics that came out this week. Let's watch. Where is it? That. All right, make sure you check out Bob O'Mac on Crisis in the Toyverse. I think he's got a new episode up this week, doesn't he? About some like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles goodness.
Well, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are getting some love, so I'm sure he's on there like mozzarella on pizza.
Hey, there we go. All right. Well, hey, look, Captain America came out this week. Let's talk about that one. Hold on a second. Let me get to my notes here.
Oh dear God!
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know we were starting with Captain.
So Captain America, written by J. Michael
There we go.
Straczynski, art by Carlos, is it Magno?
Whatever.
Magno. Espen Grundeteren. I've got to say, Espen's a great name. Love that.
Grundetjern.
Oh, and VC's Joe Caramanga is on letters.
Yeah.
You can tell this is a Straczynski book because there's lots of talking in it. It's like Babylon 5, episode 1, season 2. Nothing happens. They just sit around talking. Yes.
There's lots of exposition in this book and lots of kind of explaining what they're doing instead of showing you. But no, hey, I've actually kind of liked this run of Captain America. I've liked Straczynski. You know, I loved his Spider-Man run from a million years ago. And here, I mean, he hasn't written comics in quite a while, right? So it shows.
It shows.
So this is called Intermezzo Part 1 of 2. This basically really when you come down to this is a life and death story, right? So they actually they hit you over the head with the character that they don't really call life, but they show you throughout the book that that's who this character is. And it's really an interesting type of book. I'm trying to kind of word it to sound like I liked it, but it was I can't.
Frey on the Defeated Crusade, when she gets in where you are right now, she'll say something like, "The colors are nice."
Oh, the colors are nice. So basically, this does very little from if you read the first 6 issues of the book and then jump into this book. The only kind of tie-in or continuity kind of going through is he's been rebuilding his childhood home, and he bought the building in Brooklyn where he grew up in and renovated it, and then you know they show he's happy about how it came out, and then this character comes out of the woodwork. This character is supposedly Life, and Life gives Cap a note, says meet me at midnight at this so and so place. Turns out to be a stage show cabaret, and when he goes backstage, he gets teleported into another world, so to speak, where it's the conflict between life and death, and there's a lot of exposition about how life and death used to be great buddies, and then after World War II, death went crazy and decided, I just didn't understand the book at all. It was like, okay, death, people die, but then of course when Hitler killed 6 million Jews and the Russians lost 20 million people, then death went crazy. Is that kind of how it came out? And I'm just like,
maybe he just got fat and all the dead souls. I don't know.
Yeah. So now, Captain America in this book is they kind of call him a change agent. That's kind of a political term now, isn't it? Change agents. But
yeah.
I have no idea.
They've been pushing this whole idea of change agents in some of the other Captain America books and the Bucky books that have happened within the last couple of years. There was a whole storyline around Bucky as the ultimate change agent, and that his position is not to be the good guy, it's to be a changing agent to push it over stuff that's happening over the needle, so that a lot less disastrous stuff happens.
Yeah.
So now they're trying to say Captain America's a change agent. I don't really get that piece.
So, but I mean, basically, the end of this book, or the end of part 1 of this book, is Captain America being the change agent for life, ending up fighting the hordes of zombified, uh, zombified. Is it Nazis? uh, Agents of Death, right, or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
Basically, this book was really kind of metaphor hitting you over the head. Uh,
Mhm.
it was not really a lot of subtlety in the book. It was kind of strange, and after I liked the first 6 issues of this book, and this one was kind of just a bump in the road for me. So, what did you guys think? I know you guys probably haven't read the last 6 issues of Cap, but
I read some of the last issues of Cap, not
okay.
all of them,
Oh, okay. Sure. Didn't mean to offend you.
just easy. I don't get Cap. He's one of those characters for me that's so polarizing. It's like they just can't let him be. They're always trying to force him places where he naturally doesn't belong.
Right.
Dealing with mysticism and this versus that isn't a Cap America thing.
Mhm.
He's not standing up for truth, justice, and the good old spiritual way. I mean, when did this happen?
Mhm.
I just
Mhm.
he's not fighting for the spirit of liberty. And this whole change
Uh,
agent, Captain America is the epitome of no change agent because he's the same guy he was in 19 bloody God knows what when he went in the ice. So I don't know. They're trying to make him, and this is the rub with Cap. They're trying to make him more not mainstream but up to date or give him something to do because story wise, context wise, it's hard to write a political story with a superhero um, without trying to force one viewpoint over the other. And this is probably where today's don't upset anyone mentality is actually hurting the character because Cap, the best thing about Cap is that he makes a stand and he makes a decision and he sticks with it because he makes the right one as well. And at no point has he done that for ages at
That's
all.
and you bring up a good point because that's we were just talking before the podcast about my daughter, right? Millennials and Generation Z's and all that stuff. And is Captain America or the current iteration of Captain America identifiable with the generations that are now? You
Nope.
know, even if we talk about the Chris Evans version of Captain America from the MCU, it's been almost 20 years already since he's made an appearance. It's interesting to think that a character like Captain America these days is just that you have to kind of force him into situations like this to make him readable, right? I remember
This
the
is,
last time that I thought so the
I
Captain
mean,
America. Do you remember the Millar version of Ultimates
yes,
25 years ago
yeah,
when Captain America, when that Captain America, and just like the A stands for America or doesn't stand,
mm, yeah.
that version of Cap, and you're like, oh, now this is like an old school Cap,
Yeah, this is what we
and
want. But
yeah,
Superman has the same problem over at DC, but DC have cleverly wrapped him around with a family now. So you
mm,
don't just get one Superman. If you like cheery stuff, you've got Supergirl. If you like edgy stuff, you've got Power Girl. If you like young Superman, you've got Superboy. If you like Superman, you've got Superman. There's a Superman, there's a super for everyone.
well, they
And
did,
Marvel
yeah,
don't to try that with Winter Soldier, but Winter Soldier to Cap is like Jason Todd is to Batman. He's like the
yeah,
guy that everyone loves to hate, not
but
support. So I
remember
so
remember a
I
couple
mean
of years ago when they did 700 versions of Captain America and like everybody was a Cap.
mhm.
Do you remember that?
yeah.
And
Yes.
where's that gone? Right? There was several Captain Americas that made first appearances
Mm,
and then they're forgotten about
that's
largely.
the
So
that's
Right.
the Lucas thing. Lucas, where's all those Captain Americas gone?
So there.
how much
So
are those books selling for?
0 cents. They're 0 cents.
You give
In
money
fact,
and a book to get someone to buy that book.
yes,
There's
exactly.
$5. Here's a comic
Clearance,
book.
clearance sales. Get this out of our offices. Get it out of the freaking inventory and everything. In fact, man, you guys are saying absolutely perfect stuff, man, regarding this freaking book. Um, like just now, there's the one Captain America who that came out as queer, right?
Yeah.
This should have been the story that he should have been in, right? Because you got all this weird stuff happening. And they're in the nexus point and inside the nexus point in the quantum time limit second. You've got all these kind of weird people. But then Johnny's talking about, hey, they are pegging and putting this guy in a position where he should have been. Well, that is literally a philosophical way of saying, hey, America, the country America, is currently being forced into a position that it should not be playing. Right? America should be about liberty, justice, in the American way. But what are we? What is America right now being forced to? It's just forced into being, the defender of stuff that it doesn't really even care about, and the big daddy and the big uncle that gives you a quarter. It's being forced. He's being America right now is being forced into all types of weird positions over in Europe right now. And I think maybe if that's where Mike Straczynski is trying to go with this, and people are not going to like it. Johnny doesn't like it. Captain America's in this weird position with in a weird circus show. Yes, that's what's going on with America right now. Instead of being back home, fighting for liberty for people, he's out here doing this other stuff. So I gotta admit that I've cheated. I've already seen issue number 8. Um, her brother Death does show up, including his little team. They do show up, and then it's over for there. But I tell you what, I really like this. I really like the story. I like the way they set it up. I like the weirdness of it. I like the art. I like the colors of the art. Right?
Colors are good.
Yeah, and you and the
Easy
colors are
there for
good.
you.
And you guys are talking about how the lettering and there is too much lettering on it. I hate too much reading. I hate too much lettering. But you know what? Some of the stuff that they was kind of poetic, right? It actually, does your heart good to actually read what they're trying to lead you up to and trying to say in the moment, and that's fine. Because I've always said, if you're going to have that much lettering, it better say something impactful and powerful that makes me actually want to keep going. And this one actually freaking did that. So yes, good
So
one.
I would just like to say, so this is actually the first of a two-parter. Asking Straczynski to write a two-parter is a tall order because Straczynski is usually like 10 issue epic, or 12, 5 seasons, you know, to get the story out. So
Yeah,
anyhow, all right, let's
but it
move
works.
on. Let's move on to our next book. All right, Lucas, this is all you. Please tell me.
So far, we've had
Explain this shit. Sorry.
Yes, so far we've had Ultimate Invasion, we've had Ultimate Spider-Man, and Ultimate Black Panther. Now we've got Ultimate X-Men, written and drawn by Peach Momoko, script adaptation by Zach Davison, lettered by VC's Travis Lanham, and of course the cover art done by Peach Momoko. I gotta tell you, break this down, that there's several other artists: Mark Brooks, Benticola, Enoch Reed, Peach Momoko, Alejandro Sanchez, and the design of this was done by Jay Bowen. Your editor, that you can blame if you didn't like this, was Will Moss. So, um, this was supposed to be like the first book where you're going to get armor and this new character called Maystorm in the same book. Maystorm really didn't do much in this book other than appear, right? Which is a shame because I know people were expecting a lot more. Um, so right now you got to look, instead of looking at it as a superhero book, you got to look at it as a, from Peach Momoko's side, as that, hey, there's a lot of great Asian horror out there right now. A lot of great Japanese horror, a lot of great um, Chinese horror, Korean horror, and that's the way she tried to write this, right? So instead of just like, hey, we're going to go out and fight and everything, it's like, hey, there was something that happened, and you were on the you were along for the ride to feel through what the character that went through that felt like. There to exploit this thing is the villain, the Shadow King. He's a big piece of that as well. So I will leave it at that. Like, as far as breaking it down, you got to look at it as an Asian horror movie script with that happens to have the Shadow King. Armor is going through this freaking big nightmare of going through what she did in the past. May Storm just happens to be in the freaking storyline, but I know she's gonna she's supposed to play a bigger part of this. And you know what? It freaking works if you look at it like that. But if you are an old school superhero fan, you're gonna hate this.
And
You're
that's
gonna hate
exactly
this.
where I stand. I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
You're gonna hate this.
That's all right. So I understand that Marvel might be looking at getting the whole manga nation vibe thing, bearing in mind that allegedly manga outsells Western comic books by the truckload. Yeah, although I don't see it over here. That's fine. For me, if you want to do this type of book and you want it to be taken seriously, don't call it something else entirely. All right. If Peach Momoko is that great a talent, and we know that they are, this book should be able to be produced and put out there without trying to con people thinking that it's an X-Men book. It's that simple. I'm not disputing the quality of the work. I'm not disputing the ideas behind it, although I am going to go to that in a second. But call it the X-Men, even if it's Ultimate and things have changed, there are no similarities between this book and an X-Men book, even though maybe the Shadow King. And even then, I didn't realize it was the Shadow King until you told me, because it made no sense at that point. I'm also not particularly sold on the idea of having grief, depression, and suicide being the key triggers to release a latent mutant power. Now, part of that is my day job. In my day job, I'm a safeguarding officer. Part of my job is to talk people off the bridge. So to see this minimized into a comic book, fine. If that's what you like, go for it. I'm not here to tell you what you should like or what you shouldn't like. But for me, I find it a little bit distasteful, and I'm not gonna. That's it. I'm done with it. I'm not gonna pick up number 2. I don't care. They could have an Asian Wolverine turn up. They're going to have to do something, because to carry the X-Men label on there, it's just bonkers. It's like calling it Spider-Man and having no spiders in it. It's ridiculous. That said, Momoko's work is glorious. The art works really well. It would work better if you just take out the blurb and then just see it as a visual experience. Take out the words, do it as a visual experience, but you can't call it an X-Men book, because it's not an X-Men book. If you want it to be a horror book, call it a horror book. If you want it to be a Korean horror book, call it a Korean horror book, but don't call it something it isn't. Thank you.
So, yeah, I mean, Johnny, I largely agree with you. I found this very difficult to really kind of understand, and I kind of feel a lot of this issue was quite literally lost in translation for me, because this was a book obviously written in a different language and translated to English so that we could actually read it. There's the last page in the book that usually is kind of reserved for character designs, and sometimes was reserved for to show us all these little toys and knickknacks and what exactly they are, and like the whole button thing where, like, right at the beginning of the book, where the little boy gives Armor the button, because that's I'm like, they had to actually explain that tradition at the end of the book, even though that was one of the things I kind of understood. I was like,
Just explain it the front as well.
yeah. So I was like, okay. It took me until the end of the book to realize that the character was actually Armor, because when that the red armor like samurai showed up, I'm like, well, Armor's powers in the Marvel universe are just her ability to create armor around herself, not to create a totally different guy that's apart from her. That to me seemed a little strange. Other than that, in fact, I think I asked you guys last night. I'm like, what did this book have to do with the X-Men at all? At all? And I was like, I didn't get it. I was reading it. I'm like, I don't understand the characters. I don't know who anybody is. There's no philosophy behind Children of the Atom or mutants. They don't even use the word in this book. I'm like, I get the whole relaunch of the Ultimate Universe, and we all read those books that came out a few months ago. We've all read Ultimate Spider-Man. We've reviewed Ultimate Black Panther. This book is out of left field. It is totally, it's like an indie book that they put X-Men on. and it's the only people that are going to buy this book, suckers that will buy anything X-Men, and people. If you have to have like you have to have a love, I think, for a manga.
Peach Momoko. I mean, Peach Momoko is a huge talent.
Well, and I'm not disputing that. She
Mhm.
just doesn't speak to me at all.
Mm.
And I look at the artwork, and a lot of the times I'm like, I don't understand what she's trying to say. And I just, to me, it really fell flat. And when Lucas, I knew when you picked this book, I was like, oh, I know, because I just don't understand Peach Momoko. It's not, I don't hate her. I think she's a fantastic talent. I just don't, when the sequential storytelling, I don't know if that's a strong point. Covers are awesome. Sometimes I look at them and I'm just like, I could stare at this artwork all day. But when I'm trying to put these panels together to actually have it tell me a story,
Yeah, that's not the way. That's not the way. Yeah, that's not the way to read any anime and manga. It's to make you
and
try and
what's the
feel
point?
something. Yeah, it's supposed to try to make you feel something. Um, and
I
that's
had
just the
some
way anime and
feelings.
manga, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, once again, like if you go in like, hey, this is where I'm going in to figure out what's going on with this book and to figure out like what's going to happen later. Yeah, you've already lost the freaking game.
Yeah,
Yeah, you've already lost the freaking game.
I knew before I started, Lucas. I knew it was going to be a slug, but I mean, I guess maybe the applause for Marvel would be for trying something different, I guess, but the time to try something different is not in an X-Men trade dress where you're kind of you're is this was this book $4.99?
$5.99.
You're paying $6 for this for an X-Men book. There are a lot of people
Yes.
out there that are gonna be mad they spent that.
Yeah. So this was the #1 book this week.
Well, okay, so maybe I'm wrong, but let's see what
Oh
number
no,
two shows.
yeah. So I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong because people were, after the success of Spider-Man and Black Panther, people were going to go into this like, okay, let's go figure out what's going on with the Ultimate X-Men book and everything. But once again, yeah, this was not this was not the book for that. Thinking that they're going to get some more, you know, insight into what's going on with the whole maker and all that. This was not the book. This is just a feelings book. This is a book that they didn't like. I think was it you or Johnny that said, "Hey, you know, the thing that messed it up was the bubbles, right? Trying to
That's
figure
me.
read.
Yeah.
No, if you just look at the art and just go, I'm here to experience and see what she was feeling, which will eventually take you into like
Yeah,
the decisions she's gonna make later. There you go. But yeah,
I hear what you're saying, and I totally respect that, and I totally agree with you on this one. Absolutely, Lucas. But then that feeds into the issue that I've got. If it's not connected to the X-Men, why are we calling it X-Men? And if
I
it's not
agree with you.
connected to the Ultimate line, why are we calling it Ultimate? So
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. Yeah,
yeah,
I guess we'll find out, right? And that's
as an
probably
as an enjoyable piece of art to look at, gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And would I buy it if it didn't have the X-Men? If I was an X-Men fan, I wouldn't buy this if it didn't have the X-Men word on it. But because it's got it on, an X-Men fan will buy this and get something completely different. I'm all for stretching and challenging people's viewpoints of what makes a great comic book and what makes great art. But come on, if you order a cappuccino, you want a cappuccino, right?
Mhm.
You don't want a latte. Even worse, you don't want a bubble tea if you order a cappuccino, for Christ's sakes, right?
yeah. No, yeah, Johnny, you're right there. So that's and who knows? I mean, Sobalski has been doing this for years now, right? As editor in chief, just kind of driving more Asian type entertainment towards us. He tried it with Agents of Atlas and all of those new Asian characters they introduced like 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and then this, and the talent that he's been signing. So I get the more type of worldview Marvel is trying to take, but when it comes to artistic sensibilities, especially for old school Marvel fans like me, this is totally out of left field and totally not in our wheelhouse. So, um,
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad there are people out there that like it, but I
Me
just
too.
don't. But you're right. I think that there's the Ultimate No. X-Men? No. Okay,
Yeah.
what are we doing? So, all right, so we're gonna skip our third review. So, giant size Spider Gwen, we barely knew you.
I do have a question though. Now the
Yeah.
football season's over, is this now known as the 7 inning stretch rather than the 2 minute warning?
Ah.
We can call it, yeah, we can call it the seventh inning stretch. Yay!
Yeah, man. Freaking.
Take me out to the comic book store. Take me out to the store.
So what's interesting is, with all the things that you just said about Ultimate X-Men, they should probably take that style and put it towards the Spider-Gwen books. That's the way. That's just the way
There you
I
go.
feel,
Yeah, that
right?
would work.
Because if her as a young person, and if they're trying to attract young readers, then take the manga anime stuff that the young folks love so much and give it to an actual young character like
Yeah, that would
Spider-Gwen
work. Yeah.
or Miss Marvel and such.
Cool.
All right, let's go ahead, and if you guys are skipping this book, let's go
Yeah.
ahead and let's go into these are some of the books that were trending.
Which
Marvel's getting this.
who is
Yeah,
that? Harley Quinn.
now it's Harley Quinn.
Wait.
Marvel is losing on the regular right now. Uh, Some of these that I've done, I've actually missed out on Batman 143, Batman 145, and Batman 146 because I didn't believe the numbers. But ICV2, they did say quantify that, hey, Marvel is getting its butt whooped by DC right now. So the number one book is Harley Quinn, but number 38, and IDW with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Last Ronin. But they are bringing up the caboose with the Spectacular Spider-Man that just came out, Venom 31, Captain America 7 that we just reviewed. But something that is kind of hidden that should be coming out next week is the Deadpool Inhyuk Lee foil that's coming out. Um, this was the first. This is gonna be the first book that. Excuse me. What's the name of the freaking creator again? Rob. I don't know Rob
Rob
Liefeld.
Liefeld and Fabian Nicieza was the
Yeah,
writer.
yeah, because he just quit, just retired, said I'm not writing Deadpool anymore, so this is gonna be the first book without him.
Who?
Oh,
Fabian? Fabian didn't? No, he didn't.
No,
Did he?
no.
no,
Maybe who else has been writing them? I have no idea.
yep.
Okay,
So
cool.
we got Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Black Panther, the third print coming out. Then I think there's one that's a 1 in 25 for Black Panther. Ultimate X-Men number 2, and this is some of the stuff that's on FOC this week to look out for and talk to your local shop about. This is like we're talking about armor with a totally different freaking guy that's out there.
See, now that
This
looks more like armor, but that's not Peach Momoko art.
right. I forget who this is. If this is DK1 or who it is. This is the 1 in 10 for that one. Yeah, I forget who this is. It's a great freaking Peach Mocha right there. All right, what if Venom issue number 1 by this one is covered by Lionel Yu.
That was terrible. Anyway,
Well, isn't it? What if Venom became the Sorcerer Supreme?
well, it's like a whole limited series. This first issue was what if Venom became not
Moon Knight, yeah, he's Moon
yeah.
Knight, Wolverine,
Oh,
Venom.
okay. Right.
Yeah, you
That's
can't really tell by that cover. It looks weird. It's like a weird ass cover.
yeah. So he's Venom and Anti-Venom.
Yeah.
Shouldn't
Yeah.
that just make him just a normal bloke then by that point?
Yeah.
This one has been going crazy for the last 30 days, even before it's even come out. Edge of Spider-Verse has been selling like hotcakes.
Even though they end of Spider-Verse was last year, now it's back.
They've redone it. Yeah, they redone it. This is issue number 3. So yeah. Edge of Spider-Verse number 3. This one is the Felipe Masafra.
See, this is the thing. This is the thing that nags me about Spider Gwen. Some of the art looks absolutely gorgeous, and you think, "Wow, I could get into this." And then you pick up a book, and it's absolutely terrible. You're like, "Oh,
Yep. They fooled me again.
God damn you!"
So I mean, that goes to the fact that speculators, the people that are buying it just to trade and everything, they are holding it down. It's not the readers. It's the people that buy like multiple copies and like 100 copies, have a box full of copies that's holding Marvel down right now. So
It's Lucas.
It's this
Holding
guy
it.
down here. It's this guy down here. Yeah.
Holding it until the value goes down
God.
to 0.
Yeah.
Just don't know when to sell.
Oh, I'm trying to sell. You know, Miss Marvel or Mutant Menace. This is a Peach Milko. There you go.
Mojo's got boobs.
Yeah.
I think Mojo's always had boobs.
Yeah. That's how they get by the censors.
They are definitely trying to freaking, get in on the whole Taylor Swift Dazzler with more of this weirdness with the Uncanny X-Men.
So they're
What about
relaunching Uncanny X-Men. We didn't talk
fuck
about
me.
that.
It's facsimile. Oh, and let's see. Well, that's it for the FOC. Let's see if there's anything else.
Can't believe that's a 2-minute one. It only took 8 minutes.
Did they touch up that John Byrne cover to make it look more like Taylor Swift? Did they?
Okay, here we go. These are the ones that are coming out this week. Avengers Twilight, book 2, second print. Then
I'm
there's
actually liking that book.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah, a lot of people are definitely Marvel's been doing really good with some books that people can actually read this year. So yeah, they've done really well. And then I believe this is issue number 3 or 4, might be 4, but Simone Bianchi. Black Widow's Hawkeye art germ.
Which woo.
Nice cover. That's
It's
I
well
think we
nice.
said that. It's like fishnets all over, Johnny. What the heck?
Ah,
Mhm.
woo!
I didn't know you could have fishnets above the waist.
That's just called being kinky.
Blood Hunt Diaries. There is supposed to be a previews and something like that in this stuff. So if you are the speculative type of person, that is something that you definitely going to want to pick up.
Yeah, I think that event book is gonna suck.
Yeah.
I hope not, 'cause I like Jed McKay. I hope it doesn't suck.
God, you guys missed my vampire joke.
Ghost Rider Final Vengeance, number 1 by Ben Sue. This one is going to be a foil, so it's going to be a little bit more than the $5.99 that the regular cover price is, because it's going to cost your stores more to get it.
That cover stinks.
And this one is the What If Venom number 2 by Lionel Yu.
Nope, sorry. I hate all these venomized heroes. It's been so overdone.
Star Wars High Republic Adventures Phase 3 number 4. This one is by Talaba. This one is a Dark Horse imprint. And lastly, going to go out with Ultimate Black Panther issue number 2. There's a 1 in 25 for this one as well.
I like that cover on the right. That's a nice
good
cover.
perspective. Yeah,
I like it.
perspective type stuff. And that, gents, was your 7-minute stretch.
Nice.
7-inning stretch.
Nice. No, I love those covers, upcoming covers. So, all right, gents. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of No Prize Podcast. Are we going to be talking X-Men 97 next podcast, or I think we're
is it due out then? By then?
the first 2 episodes come out on the 20th, and I think our next episode's going to be 22nd.
Yeah. I'll watch that. I'll watch the.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll watch that.
Yay! So we'll review the first 2 episodes of X-Men 97. And all right, so be with us in a couple of weeks, and until then, everybody, as I'm gonna say, stay safe, but I don't have my outro. Oh! Stay safe.
Adios.